then spend the next few years, I meet this young woman named Jenny Judge from Hastings. I marry her in '66. We move into the Hall House, which is a house that Frank Hall had built, a boarding house hotel. We live there. We have 3 children, Jeremiah, George, and Edward. I perform various offices in county government. In '71, I ran for county sheriff, and I'm elected. I become Freeborn County Sheriff in 1872. I was serving that post till 1884. Normal duties, of course, in '76, they had the big Blue Hot Northfield, and the James Younger gang robbed the bank. We threw up a posse across Freeborn County. Nothing ever happened from it, but it was an exciting time. I will serve as the Vice President of the Anti-Horse Thief League. I will be a charter member of Robinson Post and the Fireman of the Grand Army Republic. In '84, I don't run again for sheriff. I received an appointment by the president as the Indian agent at the White Earth Reservation, northern Minnesota. So I go up there with my wife and one of my sons, Jeremiah, who is crippled, by the way. And we go up there. I'll be the Indian agent at White Earth Agency until 1889, at which time my post is done. I move to St. Paul, and I will function as a Deputy U.S. Marshal. I had served as Deputy U.S. Marshal after the war. August Armstrong was the U.S. Marshal at that time, so I worked for him as a Deputy U.S. Marshal. I had experience. And by this time, 1890, I'm working as a Deputy U.S. Marshal. Of course, the federal court's up there, so I have a lot more work. Normally, your deputies are paid by the subpoenas or the warrants that you serve, but you also serve the court. So up there, I can serve the court in some of their duties, and so I made a very good income. Now, it's a pretty calm time in life. In 1888, there was an occurrence at Leech Lake. The Ojibwe, there was always reports of whiskey selling, stealing of timber off the Indian lands. The Marshal Service, we're federal, so that's our duties is with the agency, with the Indians, because they're federal, so that's part of our duties. So we were oftentimes called upon to serve warrants or subpoenas bringing Indians in for various testimonies about whiskey dealings. As it turns out, in '94, a Ojibwe named Jig, they call them bug ears, had been served a summons into Duluth to testify. When he was done testifying, they didn't give him a ride back. He was forced to walk back home 150 miles. At that time, he said, "I'll never do that again. You're never getting me in there." So he'd served some more subpoenas, couldn't find him for the next couple of years. Again, in '96, there's another subpoena issued for him, couldn't find him. Well, in the late summer, early fall of '98, word out that he had been seen on the east side of Leech Lake. He had a house there. And so I was sent up and joined the marshal up there, and there was a squad of 20 soldiers at Walker National Guard, Minnesota National Guard. We went across the lake to Buggear's house, couldn't find him. The Indians said, "Well, you come back next day," but they were armed. And of course, they were supposed to be armed. Well, at that point, when we got back to Walker, the governor had sent up a company of men from the 3rd Infantry, U.S. regulars, to help us get serve these warrants, because these Indians are armed. They got repeating rifles, and they'd actually forced us off at that point. We went back the next day, across the lake, we get off, around Buggear's house, the men are deployed, and I see one of the men that we're after. He's behind Buggear's house, so I go back and grab him. We have a tussle, and fortunately some of the men from the 3rd didn't come to help me, but we got a hold of him and got him under control. We couldn't find Buggear's. The morning goes on, and the U.S. Marshal and the interpreter, they get in their boat, head back to the boat that's standing off the lake there. They leave. The men of the 3rd, some of the green recruits, as they were clearing their rifles of the rounds that were loaded in to stack them to have their dinner, one of the rifles went off accidentally. At that point, the woods opened up on fire on us from the Ojibwe, and we were surrounded. It was a terrible fight. Fortunately, the men got under control. We started returning fire. We got down behind the barricades. Major Wilkinson was killed. Myself, being former military, I took command of the right flank with 20 men. And at one point, we even went over the embankments, charged into the woods to push the enemy back. I received a wound in the right hand and right elbow. We held them off that day. The next day, they came across the river with a lake with Gatling gun, and that pretty much ended the affair there. That was November of 1898, 2 years ago. Now, because of my wounds, I'm getting to the point in life where I'm thinking about retiring. My boy has got poor health, but it's been a good life. And fortunately, thank you people for asking me down here at Calvary to share my story and the story of the men of the 5th Minnesota WC that came from here. It served with great honor in the past, and thank you to Freeborn County Albany for having me.